everyone, I'm Dr. Patsy Watts, and I'll be your instructor for the World Literature 2 online class this semester. I'm really excited to get to work with you, and today I'd like to give you just a little bit of overview of the course content. First, as you'll notice on the screen in front of you, we're using the Norton Anthology of World Literature for our class. There are lots of good anthologies, and you might have an anthology that contains most of the literature we're reading in it, but we're using the shorter third edition this semester of a new edition that should be easily accessible to anyone. There are major divisions in the anthology that we'll go by sort of. 4 divisions projected on the screen in front of you are a look at the Enlightenment in Europe and the Americas, a look at the some vernacular Eastern literature, a category entitled Revolutions in Western Thought, concentrating primarily on Europe and the Americas again, and then modernity and modernism, bringing us into postmodern literature and some near contemporary literature. The first section, Enlightenment Tensions Between the Ancient and the Moderns, shares some common characteristics. Both the ancients and the moderns believed in the importance of reason as opposed to faith as the sole way of knowing about the universe around us. Both explored or investigated the subjective I, or what one might call individual identity, and what it means to be human with a specific consciousness. And finally, both were concerned with harmony and balance, how the individual fit the broader constructs of the universe. 3 authors we're interested in are Molière, Voltaire, and Alexander Pope. You'll enjoy each of these 3 for very different reasons. Molière is a French playwright. In his satire, he mocks social conventions and moral hypocrisy of society in a very accomplished classical form. The play we read is Tartuffe, and enough said about that at this time. We'll look at that very shortly in the course, and I'm almost certain you're going to love it. Then we'll move on to Voltaire's Candide. Possibly you've heard of Candide in the past. If not, you've definitely seen literary allusions to Candide. Voltaire creates a mock hero on a very gritty, realistic adventure, learning to temper his optimism in a world that's pretty harsh. And then finally, the English Alexander Pope has a short essay on man written in verse form that provides some glimpses of philosophical ideas that permeate the age. Leaving the Enlightenment, we'll then move into a section on some Eastern vernacular literature. We're going to be reading a text entitled The Journey to the West, written in the language of the common man, though certainly we'll have to be reading an English translation. Journey to the West differs from some of the classical Chinese texts in the language, wit, the genial humanity, and the element of satire that pokes fun of itself as well as broader cultural constructs. The text we read, again, by Wu Chang, or at least recorded by Wu Chang, is The Monkey, or more commonly entitled The Journey to the West. From there, we'll move on to a section entitled An Age of Revolutions in Europe and the Americas. We'll be examining some texts from the late 1700s and early 1800s, which formulate changes in attitude that impact government, the role of the common man, literature and the arts, industry, and commerce. The first person we examine is Goethe. We'll be reading Dr. Faust, which champions an overreacher, the common man who extends beyond natural limitations to explore the universe. From there, we'll examine some of the Romantic poets in Europe and America who changed arts and letters for all time, and then move back to India to look at some of the texts of Tagore and what was happening in the Eastern Hemisphere at the same time. Toward the end of the 1800s, we'll move to a focus on realism and naturalism, precursors to early modern literature, examining some Russian writers, Dostoevsky and Tolstoy, along with the Norwegian Henrik Ibsen and the French Gustave Flaubert. Moving into the 20th century, we'll have a chance to look at Doris Lessing, James Baldwin, Virginia Woolf, Franz Kafka, and a host of other writers who attempt to define the role of the individual in a very disjointed modern society. Again, this has been Dr. Patsy Watts for East Central College, and these are some of the places that I took the images from for this little video.